one. Okay. It's very slowly preparing to do it. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, despite our technological mishaps here. Most of you know me, but my name is Elizabeth Hughes, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Inventio, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to our reveal party of Volume 5, Issue 2. And this year has been remarkable for many reasons. You don't need me to tell you that. We're sitting here on a Zoom call. 10 months ago, most of us hadn't heard of Zoom before. But Inventio knew that 2020 was going to be a remarkable year for us, even without COVID before March came, because it marks the first time that Inventio would be publishing 2 issues in 1 year. And this was made possible because this year, Inventio received a record number of high caliber submissions, making the selection process more rigorous than ever. And it was this growth in submissions that allowed the journal to expand in this landmark way. And so even when quarantine came and university classes shifted online, the Inventio editorial board worked hard throughout the rest of the spring semester and even into the summer to make sure that we met this goal of publishing 2 issues. And I'm extremely proud of the student editorial board for their dedication and their hard work that has allowed us to be here tonight to reveal Volume 5, Issue 2. So Inventio presents such a unique opportunity for undergraduate students. When professors promote the journal in their classrooms, and we have several professors here tonight, or when students hear about Inventio through other means or ways, students can really see that their studies can take on a whole new level of meaning, that their research has value beyond the grade they get in the classroom, beyond that immediate grade they get. They can share their work with other people and can contribute to a field and to a discipline. And ultimately, Inventio encourages students to work towards the proper end of an education, which consists not merely in maintaining a high GPA, though that's definitely a goal that we have, right? But is instead principally focused on improving the individual and improving that individual's community. So Inventio reminds students that the fruits of their education, right, these papers that they have worked hard over for weeks, months, in many cases, should be offered for the benefit of others, that it's not solely for them. And it provides a way for students to achieve this goal. And so I want to thank you again for joining us tonight to celebrate the release of Issue 2. And I'm excited to announce that despite the current circumstances, we will be printing Volume 5, Issue 2, and it will be available in the spring semester for professors and definitely the authors and SEB to pick up their copy and see their hard work in physical copies. I know how much we're all yearning for the end of the digital world, and not the end of the digital world, that's a little dramatic, but for longing for that physical hard copy and really seeing the fruit of their hard work. But even though won't be available until the spring semester, you can find the online edition of Volume 5, Issue 2 on the Inventio website currently, which our web team has been working diligently on the past month. But before we go on, I would be remiss not to thank all of the hard work that many people have put into this journal. And first, I want to thank Dr. Sherman, who I'm not quite sure if she's here tonight, but Dr. Sherman, we want to thank you for all the hard work that you've put in over these past 5 years as she steps down actually as faculty editor from Inventio. So she was one of our original faculty editors and has run a review process for the past 5 years. And I cannot emphasize enough how important this review process is to the running of the journal. Though it happens very much in the background during the fall semester when most of the students aren't working on Inventio, it's pivotal to try and maintain the high caliber of research that Inventio publishes. And so we really want to take the time to thank Dr. Sherman for all the hard work that often goes unrecognized that makes our work possible. I also want to thank Dr. Mayer in undergraduate studies for her constant support and her willingness to be helping us in whatever we want to do. She totally backed us 100% in our desire to publish 2 issues and just said, how can I help? And the same thing with Miss Jasmine Hart, who also works in the undergraduate studies office. She's constantly there, even though she has so many things to be doing, responding to our emails, answering logistical questions, and just there as a support base for us in Inventio. I also want to thank Dr. Paxton, who so wonderfully trains our student editorial board members in how to produce a journal, giving us her years of experience on how to copy edit all the way to proofreading that final journal. I know I have learned so much, and I think I can speak for the whole editorial board. I would also like to thank Dr. Lipscomb from CUA Press for his wise words of wisdom in running a professional journal, to helping us running our undergraduate journal. And Dr. Rulo from the Writing Center and the FYE English program for his support in citations, which I'm sure our head copy editor, Josie Miller, can attest is sometimes a nightmare. With his support in that, and also in his guidance and yeah. And then finally, last but secondly, I want to thank the faculty who review the essays. As mentioned before, Dr. Sherman is the one who oversees this, but many faculty members who are not named dedicate their time, which is not plentiful, right? They have a lot of other things to be doing, and they dedicate their time, and we're so appreciative for that. And finally, but certainly not least, I want to thank Dr. Akuma for all of her hard work and her dedication to Inventio. She constantly pushes us to set our sights high and really trying to achieve all of our dreams for this journal and see how we can improve it. And she's always there in the background to make these goals possible, as evident tonight with her behind the Inventio logo. That's very characteristic of her, but without her, none of this would be possible. And so with that, I would love to introduce some of the authors who I know are here tonight. I know some of them are joining us via live stream because they're busy at work, just making us proud that Inventio authors are very diligent workers and scholars. So first, I'll just go in order. Angelica Bryce wrote Requiem in Pace, Cultural Influences on Catholic Funerals in 20th Century America, under the supervision of Father Marco Bonini for his HSTR 102 class, Liturgy and the Christian Life. Dominic Cristofori de Alessandro wrote Liszt's Piano Sonata in B minor, an analysis of advancements in sonata form, and I believe he's here tonight with us. Under the supervision of Dr. Andrew Weaver for Music 326, History of Music 2. Jocelyn Felicity Hahn, who I talked with today, and she was very sad she couldn't make it today, wrote There's a Girl for Every Soldier, Gender Perspectives in World War I British Popular Song, under the supervision of Dr. Laura May Hall, for History 417, Seminars, Narratives of World War I. Ian L. Flanders wrote Will You Marry Me, under the supervision of Dr. Caroline Sherman, our very own, for History 327A, The Family in European History. Anna Stevens, who's also part of the student editorial board, who's our managing editor, so she's representing both the SEB and the authors, wrote Characterization and Courtly Love in Chaucer's Corylus and Cressida, under the supervision of Dr. Megan Merton for English 352, Chaucer and His Age 2, and it's Cressida, not Crusade, as I learned in Chaucer. And Alexandra Patterson, who wrote Two Sisters, Two Forms of Patriotism, an analysis of Christabel and Sylvia Pankhurst during the First World War, under the supervision of Dr. Laura May Hall in History 417, Seminar Narratives of World War I. So I just want to congratulate you for all of your hard work that has gone into publishing in Volume 5, Issue 2. Like I said before, it was the most competitive submissions process, and your work represents among the best of the submissions that we received, of the many high caliber submissions that we got. So now I wanted to introduce Anna Stevens, who is here tonight, and she can tell us a little bit about what she's gotten out of being an author and publishing with Inventio.
Yeah, thanks, Elizabeth. So as Elizabeth mentioned, my name is Anna. I'm a senior here at CUA. And if you would have told me as a freshman that I would have a paper published by the time I left undergrad, I probably would have laughed at you. But that's what Inventio can do. And I think one of the most exciting things about Inventio is having the chance to share the work and the papers that students have worked so hard to research and to write and to revise and to edit. And being able to do that beyond just the classroom. I think so often, as Elizabeth mentioned as well, like we write papers and then we submit them by the deadline and then we never look at them again, or they just get filed away and we forget they happen sometimes. But Inventio, for me as an author, has really helped me to go beyond that and to go back to that paper that I wrote for class, to revisit it, to revise, and to continue to make it better, but also to continue to share that with our university community, even as an undergrad, which has been super exciting. And I think another benefit of being an author in Inventio is being able to look at your writing from a different perspective that's a more professional side. So being able to go through that review process, have meaningful edits and comments from a board that's specifically trained to give those to you, in addition to yourself just going through and reading the paper again from that professional lens. And also as someone who's interested in possibly going into the publishing field after graduation, being able to see that not only from the student editorial board side, but also from the author side and what that's like has been just a wonderful experience. And so, yeah, it's been a great experience to be an author in Inventio, and it's really a wonderful culmination of work in a semester and research, and to just be able to share that with the CUA community. So if you're thinking about publishing a paper, definitely go for it because it's most certainly worth it.
Thank you so much, Anna, for that lovely insight. And you can see from both sides how much work goes in from both the student editorial board and from the authors as entirely student written and student produced. And with that, I would love to hand it over to Rachel Wood, who is our associate editor, to introduce our newest members of the student editorial board who will be working with us to produce volume 6.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Yes, my name's Rachel, and I'm excited to announce that the Inventio Student Editorial Board is welcoming 10 new members this year. And these students bring a very impressive array of talents and expertise, and we're certain that they'll be a wonderful asset to the board. So board members, if you could just, say hi or wave when I announce your name so we can know who you are. First, I'd like to welcome Javi Mazariegos as the Assistant Associate Editor. And I'd like to welcome Nicole Sosipio as the Assistant Managing Editor. And I'd also like to welcome Christina Gert, also as the Assistant Managing Editor. And I'd like to welcome Annalise Heyman as a Copy Editor. And I'd also like to welcome Anna Harvey as a Copy Editor. And we also have some other new members that couldn't join us tonight. And those are Caroline Morris as the Assistant Web Content Editor, Joan McMahon as the Head Layout Editor, Drew Forthman as a Copy Editor, Lindsay Valanchas also as a Copy Editor, and Jess Wythe as the Web Content Editor. So welcome to you all. And then I would like to hand it over to Javi, our new Assistant Associate Editor, to say a few words about his position and what he's hoping for.
Yeah, no, thanks, Rachel, and a huge congratulations to the editorial board that, it has published 2 volumes in a year, and it's something really impressive. And I just wanted to share the perspective of a student who saw what Inventio did on campus and then saw that as something that they wanted to be a part of, right? Like, I saw that and I said, I want to be a part of that. And kind of why is that the case? And I think very quickly, it's because it does something very unique to the university's life and the university's community. And this might sound lofty and a bit unpractical, but at the end of the day, the production of a journal is the most practical thing you can get. And it's like ink on paper, and it's a specific color and it's specific articles. And yet I think that very practical physical thing that we're all going to hold and be very proud of has very deep roots in something a lot loftier. So Elizabeth said something very, very cool about education being really actualized by something like Inventio, right? Like you do something for a higher purpose, whether that be service or something you really enjoy doing. And I like to think that another component of like the heart of education that's sometimes missed from college today is the fact that you study something you really enjoy and you think is not only worth studying for its own sake, but something you think is worth sharing. And it's at the end of the day something you love, and that's what makes studies really delightful, because you just really like doing it, and therefore, like all good things, you want to share those things. And Inventio is a very practical way to make that kind of human component of wanting to share something you think is beautiful, whether that's, you know, how the sonnet form has developed over time, or some insight into some great work that you think is very important. You think that's worth sharing. You think that's a good thing, that's worth loving, and that's worth pointing to and saying, hey, this is wonderful. And a university education has so much to gain by the students who, as a community of friends, really point to a bunch of things together and say, hey guys, these are all things that are very beautiful and worth looking at. And at the end of the day, it ingrains that in the university's culture. And the last thing I want to say is that isn't education just that, the transmission of a culture? And really, I wanted to join an editorial board because what we're doing is simply just handing on the culture to those who come under us. So I'm a sophomore now, and before I know it, I'll be a senior as well, and handing it on to other students. And it's just the process of handing something you receive to someone else. That's what education is. And you could be very happy while you do that. So I want to thank everyone for the opportunity, and I really look forward to working with my peers on this next journal.
Thank you so much, Javi, for those awesome words. We're excited to have you too. And I can just say, from coming from someone who was in Javi's place 2 years ago and is now a senior as the editor-in-chief, it has been such an exciting journey taking over as editor-in-chief this past year, and really trying to grow the journal and its presence on Catholic University's campus through growing our website and putting the articles accessible not only in PDF, but on our website. And I'm really excited to see where this next volume takes us and where the journal continues to grow and develop. I know we have a lot of very high caliber submissions again this year, though I have not gotten to read them yet. And I'm excited that volume 6 will be our best volume ever. If you have color suggestions for the cover, let me know. I am taking suggestions. That's not my specialty. Commas? Yes. But I would like to say that we're still accepting submissions for our first year experience section. And these essays are eligible for the Phi Beta Kappa First Year Experience Essay Prize, which is awarded to the best paper written in the first year experience. And this represents another unique opportunity for undergraduates, for freshmen, in fact, to publish their work, to be awarded essay prizes for their work. So if you are freshmen, or if you know any freshmen, please encourage them to submit. That deadline for volume 6 submissions is December 31st. And then again, I would love for you guys to visit our website and see the latest issue of Inventio. If it's not live already, it will be live. And just really read the articles and see the hard work that has gone into them. So I just want to thank you so much for joining us tonight, and thank all of the support that you offer the readers and the faculty and the students who make this grand adventure of undergraduate publishing a reality. So I hope you have a great night, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you for coming.